Good morning, viewers at home. Welcome to the program SuperDawn. I am Vera. I'll support with you on this edition, a Friday edition of the program. It's Friday, and I know loads of people are ready for the weekend. Well, today you're going to start your weekend well with us on this studio. First, we want to look at some concluding parts. It might not be total conclusion because maybe stories might come, updates might come concerning the Offa Robbery incident with the Senate President being mentioned. It was mentioned in that robbery case by the gangs. Well, away from that, we're going to look at something very important. In 2017, precisely May 18, the Vice President signed an executive order. Is the way of doing business. So we're going to the maritime this morning. A year after, we're going to be discussing a year after the order the president gave, 2017. And if you look down memory lane, Nigeria is above 50 years of age, and if we must say, we must look into our business environment and begin to look at where we can really improve in our economy. Our forefathers gave a platform, laid the stone down. Those days, you hear people say that the environment was thriving, businesses was booming. Then you now ask your question, in today's world, what is happening? So we're going to go down memory lane and look at what is obtainable at the port today, and look at how these orders can really make things better for them. So it's going to be interesting today on this program. And of course, we have the sports segment also that will be coming up on today's edition of the program. Once again, good morning to you. We'll go on this break, and what we do usually, you know, we start the program with the newspaper review, and that's exactly what we're going to be starting with this morning. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. It's a newspaper review segment, and we have the Vanguard this morning. Opera as senators, reps seeks declaration of June 12 polls result. And the writer says, call on federal government to pay president entitlements to Abiola's family and Ngige, and King Jibe. We also have this writer, warns executive bill to amend National Honors, Public Holidays Act. And this one is also in the papers. Commotion amongst reps over opposition to postmortems award for MKO Abiola. Well, the President Muhammadu Buhari decision to recognize Chief Mohammed Abiola's position in the evolution of the country's democracy rebounded in two chambers of the National Assembly yesterday. And this is in the papers. Some people are saying, okay, if you must give that award, you will definitely pay to the family his entitlement. Okay? And here it says, address other injustices. Ikwerimadu tells Buhari. The Deputy Senate President, Ikwerimadu, in his contribution, urged the President to go further to address other forms of injustice in the country. He also advised that the declaration of June 12 as Democracy Day should not lead anyone to misconstrue the fact that The handover date remains May 29. And in the papers you hear where you see people talk. And the topic here is on Declaration of June 12th as Democracy Day. We also have in the papers this morning, June 12th, Buhari has honored democracy, says Tinubu. Here, a family of 5 friend died on the first night in new home. I think we need to get that, that story. Not a good story at all. In Ogun State, Abeokuta precisely, what would have been a life of time joy turned into tragedy for family of 5 that has just moved into a newly built home. On Wednesday night, on Ayekpe Road in Shagamu area of the state, as they were all found dead yesterday morning alongside a family friend. The family include father, mother, 3 children, and the family friend. It was gathered that the family had just moved from their rented apartment into their own property, but died the first night in the house. A source within the area hinted there was a possibility that the house might have been fumigated with a killer chemical. Nobody could say because they are not alive to tell the story. Nigerian police parade only less privileged criminals. Falano, lawyer and rights activist Mr. Femi Falano has faulted media parade of suspect by the police, saying it is illegal. Speaking at the Civil Society Roundabout table on Administration of Criminal Justice Act and the abolition of stay of proceedings in criminal trials organized by Human Rights and Environmental Development 8 Agenda, he noted that only the poor and the less privileged are usually victims of this illegal act, which he has said is capable of subverting justice system. We have this one, police parade woman for suffocating her baby. And the writer says it was stillbirth. She says, how can you do that? How can you do that? Declare Abiola winner of June 12 polls. Fayose tells Abiola, Buhari. And Ado Ekiti Governor Ayodele Fayose of Ekiti State yesterday commended President Muhammadu Buhari over his recognition of the late Moshood Abiola MKO as the winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election and confirming the title of the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the GCFR, on him. He, however, urged the president to go a step further by declaring Abiola the winner of the poll and president-elect, adding that only then will the title have constitutional backing. And some people came when they heard this, that Fayose again. Okay, we have this, and it says, controversy as innocent GTB Bank beckers over Supreme Court's case, and that's the 14 billion debt. Away from before we move away from Vanguard, I just take this one. CBN issues guidelines for $2.5 billion currency swap with China. And the writer says to exchange $720 billion for RMBI 15 billion in 3 years. Lots of stories there, but we'll move away to the Punch newspaper this morning. And it says here, Senate wants MK Abiola declared as ex-president. The writer is in the Punch is saying, says INEC should release June 12 polls result. This says reps in rowdy session over Buhari's declaration. Abiola's family, Mohammed Fayemi, thanks Buhari. Well, you need to get hold of the Punch. You can get more stories from that. Okay, still in the papers we have here, man sells company's property to travel abroad. It's a weekend. So I've decided to take some of all of these human angle stories, all of these stories. Court jails man 7 years for human trafficking. Alleged illegal taxi operators arrested in Lagos. If you have entered, if you have fallen victims before, you will understand when these people are arrested and you want them to be prosecuted, just go to jail. Okay. Smart City, Ambode VC advocates more training for workers. The Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode and the Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundipe, have said training and retaining of manpower will boost the status of Lagos as a smart city. Still in the punch, and this morning we have these. Osibanjo's helicopter makes emergency landing in Abuja. The helicopter that brought Vice President Yemi Osibanjo to the Nigerian Customs Command and Staff College, Gwagwalada, Abuja, will not take off back to the villa as it was said to have made a forced landing about 30 seconds after takeoff. Osibanjo had been invited as special guest of honor to a ceremony that saw the graduation of 40 senior officers of customs. Buhari's award on our family is very symbolic. Fayemi's family. Mina Jailbreak, 55 escape recaptured, says prison boss. Remember that we took that story before where we have some of this inmate, jailbreak, but now they've captured some of those people that, escaped. And thank God that is coming. In the AM business of the punch, properties that are difficult to finance. You can read more on that. We'll move away from the punch, and we have the Nation newspaper this morning. Abiola Gani families hails Buhari's for honor. We will go on this break, and when we come back, we'll take some of the stories making the rounds in the Nation newspaper this morning. But let's go on a break. Welcome back. It's still the newspaper review segment. We'll continue from where we stopped, the Nation newspaper. I'll take that story again. Abiola Gani families hails Buhari for honors. And we have this here. Saraki explained link with Offa Robbery suspect. Well, you can get more stories, and fortunately, that's part of our topic today. The Senate President Bukola Saraki yesterday said he had given the police the explanation on his alleged link with the Offa Robbery suspect. Saraki said his written response to the police was in compliance with the demand of the police that he should put down his response written within 48 hours. In a tweet yesterday, Saraki said he had compiled with the law by the police. Well, it was a Twitter angle of the Senate president, and he has said, well, I've written, you said I should write, and I've written. But we also have here, lawmakers can't threaten president, says Malami. And you have in the papers this morning, banks to open remaining accounts in China. We have, don't quit, or your APC chair tells aggrieved. Mikel, Moses, Alex, Wobi hit the gym, and they get it. They just have to hit the gym. They have no option. We must do something at the World Cup this year. I don't expect them to go there and, you know, go there and just come like that. I don't like what happened, but with the friendlies, I never liked what happened, but let's see how it goes. We have still in the papers, land grabbers are ruining us. They are ruining us. Our farmland and produce have been destroyed by bulldozers used by the council on our parcel of land, which is against the terms of agreement between us and the council administration following the judgment of the state high court. Well, you need to read more. Lawmakers outreach lift Ebonyi community. Well, you read more on that. This is where we come to an end of this segment. We will go on a break now, and when we come back, we will continue with our topic we started 2 days ago, looking at issues surrounding the Offa Robbery killings and giving you update. We will be right back. Stay with us.
Ginger is a very popular spice that is used widely in cooking and can be processed in a variety of ways. It has quite a unique flavor and is an ingredient used in many savory foods. It also has long been used as a remedy for various ailments, whether alone or in conjunction with other herbs and spices. And researchers continue to show just how effective it can really be. Ginger has several benefits as it contains a compound known as 6-gingerol. The compound has so far shown that it might be able to slow or even stop cancer cell growth in prostate, pancreatic, and ovarian cancer. If abnormal or damaged cells are able to start growing out of control, then a cancer may occur. An early test indicates that ginger could hold the key to the treatment. The good news for nausea sufferers is that ginger has been shown to be quite effective at relieving the symptoms. Nausea can be very unpleasant symptoms and can have a variety of causes. Ginger has long been used by sailors as a remedy for seasickness and can also help patients recover through nausea symptoms after surgical operations. Many people have difficulty controlling their blood sugar level. If there's too much sugar in the blood, very serious complications can occur. Studies have shown that consuming just 2 grams of ginger powder every day can reduce blood sugar levels by 12%. It can also make improvements of around 10% in the long term. It also has a positive effect on oxidized lipoprotein, which can have a significant effect on heart diseases. Menstruation can be quite an unpleasant experience for many women, with some suffering painful cramps and headaches every cycle. Pain during menstruation is known as dysmenorrhea and is a very common problem. Studies have shown that just a single gram of ginger a day can be enough to reduce both the duration of pain and their intensity. Every day we use our joints, and this results in wear and tear. Over time, this can result in a condition known as osteoarthritis, which is a fairly common ailment amongst older people. It can be very painful and can lead people to be unable to use their joints effectively. Studies have shown, though, that symptoms from osteoarthritis can be reduced with the help from ginger.
Welcome back. We want to look at updates, looking at the Offa Robbery killings and looking at the issues surrounding it. We're going to be giving you updates this morning. Well, the Senate President was indicted in this robbery scandal during the police investigation. And we know that the police came up to say they needed him to come and answer some questions. And 2 days after, they came again to say they are giving him 48 hours to do a written document and saying his side of the story. And after that 2 days, the police said they never said so. That it was alleged that they said that they never said anything like salt. Now that they are saying he must come in person. Moshid Jimo, the PR of police, said he has to come in person. But a new one came up again, and the Senate President in his tweet said he had done the written because it was given 48 hours, say he has done so. But we have a guest in the studios this morning. We have Samson Newton. I'm a legal practitioner. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Looking at events right now with the Senate President linking with such terrible confession by the gang of robbery that attacked the Offa Bank. Looking at all of these things, what's your take in the whole matter first?
Well, without prejudice to any opinion that's been bandied around, I feel that in cases of investigations, the police are empowered to go all the way to finding out the root cause of whatever crime is being committed. It is within the purview of the powers of the police, the rights of the police to investigate. And in the case, in the process of investigation, if names come up, if people come up, I think it is also within the rights of the police to invite such names to come and answer, just to clear the situation on ground. Now, no one has said that Saraki led the Offa gang, or the Offa Robbery gang to the place to go and rob. All they've said is that it is more like their supplier. A
sponsor.
The sponsor.
They mention it. They mention sponsor.
So when you talk about sponsor in this parlance, what are we talking about? We know for a fact that the Nigerian political space is more like is akin to a jungle, whereby we have savages when it comes to trying to make sure that they win elections at all costs.
Okay, but we'll continue with that.
Thank you.
Because I want to find out from you why you think our space is like that.
Well, I think it is known to everybody that we've had too many cases of political assassination in this country. I can remember clearly the cases of Dikpo Dino of Ogun State.
Yes.
Even Lagos State here, we had the case of the engineer Funsho Williams. All this shows that the Nigerian political space is, they take it as a do or die affair at all costs. And who are the people that really do these political assassinations? Most of the times they are attached to men of these political timbers and calibers. So we know for a fact, except we want to deceive ourselves, that most of these political politicians have what can be called killer squad.
Yeah, but knowing for a fact, we've seen where even Senator Dino Milai was accused one time.
Yes.
And after thorough investigation, telling us he was involved, he was sponsored. After thorough investigation, we discovered that he wasn't part of that thing. Why do we have this system of not doing a thorough work before coming to the public light?
Thank you very much. I think that's one of the problems we have with Nigerian police and their investigation. For most legal practitioners that actually operate as defense counsels, we realize for a fact that by the time the police come with their case, their investigations are mostly porous. And it is so easy for a defense lawyer to actually knock it off. And that is why you see cases of acquittals, even when sometimes it might be glaring. So the investigating ability and capacity of the Nigerian police, I am without being sorry, is below par. So,
well, if it's below what you expected, can you now trust the police? If you are involved in a situation, in circumstances like this, will you trust the police report?
What I would say is that because someone shoots 10 times and misses 9 times doesn't mean you cannot get it at the 10th time. I'm not saying that all the investigation is poor. I'm saying that sometimes they don't get it right because they are so, I think they're overwhelmed. That's the basic thing. The Nigerian police are overwhelmed.
Okay, we carried out, we did an interview with a legal practitioner as well. We're going to take that clips right now and to hear his own side, what he thinks about what is happening in that case. But we'll go on this break. We'll bring in that to you shortly.
Surprise, but I'm privy to certain circumstantial intelligence that I wouldn't want to talk about now that made me not to be too surprised. I won't say this. I think politicizing that issue is wrong. It is easy for people to insinuate that that incident coming very shortly after the row between the Senate, so to say, and the Inspector General of Police. Irrespective of opinions, I want to say personally that I commend the Inspector General of Police for the courage, because it is a rare courage to invite the number 3 man in the country. But if there are evidence, like we have been seeing flying around, there is nothing wrong in inviting the Senate President to come and explain certain things to the police. It is done in other crimes. When the police invite you, you go. I don't know why the presidency is, for the first time, because I know that the president has always allowed agencies, ministers to do their job. So, but I think there's an interference here. And
from what end, if I may ask?
From the presidency.
Why did you say that?
Because soon after the police told us that they are inviting the Senate president, they came again to say, okay, they are no longer, in fact, I got to know that they are no longer inviting through the Senate president himself when he read the letter in the House that the police said he should make statement. Then I knew that there must have been an interference. That interference is wrong. Naturally, the police will not detain the Senate president. He will only make statement and go. So why all this? And there are evidence, circumstantial and concrete, pointing to the Senate president. Why can't he be investigated? Is he above the law? If the Senate has honored that invitation, he will use the opportunity to tell the whole world and tell Nigerians that nobody is above the law. He hold me, number 3 man, I was invited. He has no immunity. One is difficult because the persons associated with the Senate president are criminals, whose footages we have seen as those that participated in the robbery at Offa. So many innocent persons were killed. So naturally, the Senate president will do everything he can not to be associated with that kind of gory incident. So, but now there are convincing evidence that he associated with them. So you need to come and clear that. One, the evidence that they have are strong enough to make the police to invite the Senate president. We have seen some of them. They are flying around. It's enough. If it is true that there is, even after the robbery incident, one of the prime suspects accompanied the Senate president to pay a condolence visit to the Oba of Offa. If all these are true, then the Senate president, if I was the Senate president and I'm not involved at all, I will honor that invitation. I will refuse. Saying is that we have enough evidence to require an explanation from him. No, this man, I don't know him, maybe he's an ordinary Togo, I don't even know people. You can go and explain. And as the Senate president, even though he doesn't have immunity, they will not detain him. There's no way the police will detain the Senate president. So if I was the Senate president, to make people to respect the police, I would have gone and then use this as a basis to get people to respect police. When police invite you, honor that invitation. Instead of rushing to the presidency and then for him to be tried at the code of conduct, to me, I commend the presidency. It is difficult for number 3 man in the same party, the ruling party, to be tried for any criminal offense. In the history of Nigeria, it happened. So it connotes that the presidency will not disturb you. That is why I blame most of these ministers, agencies for the wrongs that are being ascribed to the president. And then the president should learn too that he should no longer rely totally on the fact that they are doing their job very well. He should look for a way to get involved in some supervisory roles. Otherwise, we will continue to blame him because he's the president. But having said this, tell me the senators that have been harassed where there is no legal justification for the action that they call harassment. If Senator Dino was invited and all that, do you call that harassment? Was there no kind of justification at all in the attempt or actual arrest of his person or trial? Was there any justification, legal justification? This issue of the Senate president, is there no legal justification? Plenty of legal justification for him to be invited to come and explain. I don't know why our leaders will not seize the opportunity to improve on cooperation with law enforcement agencies. They want to muscularly, they want to show that they have influence. You are invited, simple. When you honor the invitation, you tell Nigerians, if I can honor invitation, any person the police invite should go and honor.
Welcome back. That was Barrister Tony Daniel. His own views to that. Do you? When we started, it's looking as though you're supporting what the police did in this matter.
I totally agree with Chief Daniel.
Okay.
And the reason is not far-fetched. Like I said earlier, I said that the police have the powers to invite anybody. to come and explain some things, just like Chijana has said. You see, the rule of law, the principle and cardinal point of the rule of law states that no one is above the law, equality before the law. So if the police should invite the Senate President, it is within their powers, and it is also within the powers of the Senate President as a citizen of the country to obey police invitation.
Okay, but looking at all the events happening, the police with the Senate, looking at the House, they came up when the Senate President was invited, they came up with 12 resolutions saying that the no vote of confidence on the IG, the presidency must stop the killings, loads of things, unemployment that must be resolved. Looking at this matter, in today's even paper, some of the papers, the IG said that both the Senate President, the Senate, they don't like him, they hate him. Some papers, I think, pointed hatred for him. But it perceived to viewers as though there's a disconnect, there's a disagreement. Is it not going to affect governance at this point?
Well, yes, definitely. The House itself, the Senate House, and the National Assembly as a whole, is an organ of government. The police, under the presidency, is another organ of government, the legislature and the executive. So for governance to work properly in any country, there must be a consensus at them, a meeting of minds, a connecting factor with all three organs, the judiciary being the last one, for the country to move. So if there is a face-off between the executive, now represented by the IG, and the National Assembly, instead of going after the things that affect you and I, that are supposed to be their duties as representatives of the people, they would go on with their vendetta with the IG. These are not the things that Nigerians need.
At this time?
At this time. We are going through so much as a nation. There are people that are out there and they do not even have the means of livelihood. And we have the Senate and the National Assembly that is there, earning fat salaries, and are going after the IG. For God's sake, if you know that your name is important to you, and you know that all the things you have done, there's nothing wrong with it, you just woke up, and the innocent man has no fear. Well, to a large extent.
Okay, well, because we're about rounding off this segment.
Thank you.
Looking at the events right now, some people have said that this is politics, you know. When are we going to know if you have a sincere motive and when it's looking as though this is politics, especially with what is happening in the House?
You know, in Nigeria, everything has been politicized. Anything that happens in this country is subscribed to politics. And that is what one of the things that our leaders actually use to get away from answering to the people. If they take a step, they're trying to politicize us. No. We have, I won't say concrete evidence, but we have evidence to a large extent that the Offa gang were seen in company of someone as important as Saraki. Even going so, I don't know, they can argue that it's photoshopped, but going all the way to the Oba of Offa to pay condolence visits. And you are asking Kwaran youths to protest against, why do we do that to ourselves? Why do Nigerians actually do that to ourselves? We exempt these people, we create sacred cows, and it's not done.
And there's nobody's above the law.
Nobody should be above the law.
Shouldn't there be sincerity when you're handling cases like this? Because some people had said that this is just a media trial every time in Nigeria.
Media trial every time in Nigeria. What is media trial?
When we get to see everything on the pages of the newspaper, at the end of the day, when the matter is over, they will now say, oh, sorry, it was a mistake, and all of that.
Well, I think we enjoy publicity in this country. So if it is good for the goose, it is good for the gander, because politicians actually publicize their merger accomplishment. You see them do 1 kilometer of road, in short, even half kilometer of road. It is
so we should keep just.
Since that is what they want to do, let everybody keep
now, Saraki tweeted yesterday, President Saraki tweeted yesterday that he has done his written, he's written his own side of the story. What do you see? What are we expected to see as a legal practitioner?
The usual.
What's the usual? The
usual is that he doesn't know them, he has never seen them before in his life, and he's very sure it is the detractors, the enemies at work that are trying to put pictures where there are no pictures.
Okay.
It is the usual thing that we normally get from them.
Okay, but what if at the end of the day, we now hear another story that President Saraki is not involved? What's going to happen?
It is actually, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. It is his constitutional right. Nobody is accusing the Senate President of being guilty. No, that is wrong, and that would be very wrong. All we are saying is this: there has been an allegation laid against you. Go out and clear your name. You are innocent until the court finds otherwise.
Okay, I want to thank legal practitioner Samson Newton. Thank you for coming on this segment of the program.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a lovely day.
Well, viewers at home, we'll go on this break, and when we come back, we want to look at the ease of doing business a year after, where in 2017, the Vice President Yemi Osibanjo signed that in May 18. We'll be right back.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. Well, with this segment, we want to look at maritime. We're going straight to the seaport. We want to look at ease of doing business. The Vice President last year signed this, and that's trying to boost the economy, trying to make the business environment more viable. Well, we have a guest in the studios this morning. We have Ismail Anemo. It's maritime analyst. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we're looking at ease of doing business. This order was given, the executive orders. And to you, when it came in 2017, what went through your mind?
Well, first, I want to appreciate that policy, the move itself is indeed laudable. But I strongly hold that the then acting president may have been wrongly advised. The executive order that was supposed to promote ease of doing business in Nigerian port showed so much that the VP was not well informed about the workings of the port sector. I'll give you instances. You talked about Apapa Port resuming operations in 30 days, 24-hour port operation. And as a country, you've not been able to achieve 24-hour power supply. Are you transferring or abdicating your responsibility to port concessionaires? Port concessionaires were not supposed to provide common user facility like electricity. It's the government that should provide it. You've not been able to provide that, and you are giving a marching order, a directive, that the port should operate 24 hours, thereby making operators to increase cost of running the port. If they were using a bigger diesel generator at peak period of operations, you want them to continue using that bigger diesel generator all night. It doesn't add up to proper economic planning. Another thing the then acting president may not have considered is that you take an average of 5 days to exit a cargo from Apapa Port through Apapa Oshodi Expressway or through the Ijora axis. 5 days. I'm not exaggerating. Motorboys and truck drivers virtually sleep on the truck. They pass the night there. So if a vehicle is exiting the port, you want your port to operate seamlessly, faster, you've not been able to create road. It's the government's responsibility to fix the road. And I say that the port access road has been bad for as far back as 20 years ago. We've been repeating ourselves, we've been saying it over and over again. It's becoming too monotonous, a complaint that even successive governments have gotten used to. So the executive order that was supposed to promote ease of doing business in the Nigerian port appears like putting the cart before the horse. Are
you saying that the vice president and his team didn't hold a meeting with stakeholders before signing this policy?
Yes, they didn't. They didn't. The Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council is cut off from reality as far as the ports are concerned. If you know what it takes to have to enjoy ease of doing business regime in a port environment, you know that access road is a vital component. Now, the 2-kilometer stretch that was being done by AG Dangote, that road is still there. The target date for delivery is June 2018. As we speak, I don't think they've achieved up to 40%, and the rains are here.
So basically, you're saying this seaports, the ease of doing business, the presidential policy has really failed.
It failed from beginning. I was not expecting it to work because you gave out an executive order. You did not provide road. You did not provide electricity 24 hours. You have not provided basic technology that will aid seamless port operations. And besides, too, you've not done enough to change the orientation of the people, because there's this human factor. Even if you get the best of technology to run the environment, if the character of the people remains the same, they will still continue to do the things they do long before that time.
Okay, looking at the government agencies at the ports, with their activities, is it helping out at all? Talking about the customs, the NPA, talking about NIMASA, are they really carrying out what they should carry? in regards to the policy?
Yes, yes.
Are they driving it?
Yes, they are. They are. But you see, when something is founded on a faulty foundation, it cannot run well. It's supposed to come one step before the other. The agencies are not doing perfectly, but I don't think they all operated in deviance, except a few cases. Like if you talk about joint examination of cargo in the port, all agencies of government are supposed to do one examination and the cargo exits the port. Now, after that examination, the cargo exits the port. Only for less than or just about 2 kilometers away from the port, you see marine police waiting to waylay the same cargo. The same cargo that just exited the port is waylaid, and they come with allegations of suspicion, need to re-examine again. They need to take it elsewhere for check. And if you're a businessman, you really need to deliver on time. You may not want to see yourself taking your container to another place because maybe your buyer or your warehouse is waiting for the goods to deliver to your customers. And because you just want it seamlessly to arrive your destination, you'll be twisted into negotiating through the back door. Okay,
but looking at this, because if we go down memory lane, we're over 50 years of independence right now, and there were leaders, there were selfless leaders that made the environment, business environment conducive, you know. And looking at their effort, what they've done so far, and comparing it to what we have today, do you think these present leaders can drive us to where we ought to be?
Targets. In meeting targets, they are failing. They set targets, very sweet target, and you look at it that if they can achieve it, or if they can meet their own target, you have reason to commend them. They can be selfless, but they are not meeting their target. And the slower you achieve whatever you want to achieve, time is not waiting for you. The people suffer for it. I'll give you another example. The Kaduna Inland Dry Port that was commissioned earlier this year by the president. Now, that port is a groundbreaking achievement. The Nigerian Railway promised to make available coaches that will be carrying cargo from Lagos Port to Kaduna by May 2018. Now, we are almost getting to mid-June. Those cargoes are not here. And do you know the implication? For every containerized goods you are taking to Kaduna Port, you are taking them to Kaduna Port through the rail at 40,000 naira per container. That's friendly. But when you decide to go on a truck by the road, you'll be spending between 80,000 to 100,000 per container. And you know that the importer must build in the costs into the goods. So it brings inflation. They've not met the target. They didn't meet the target of May. And I don't see NRC doing that so fast in June. So things are happening too slowly, to the extent that very laudable policies, very laudable infrastructural development that has been put in place are not complemented with ancillary support to achieve the benefit we so desire. So the Kaduna Dry Port is running more. It's running more as an inland container depot that it used to be. The full-fledged port operations that is required of it has not taken place. Though from my findings, I'm aware that the Nigerian Customs Service is trying to install software for NISIS 2. In fact, the operators of the port did commend the customs that customs is doing its own bid.
Okay, but before we go into the ranking, that's the doing business ranking in Nigeria last year. Before we go into that, let's look at security at the port. Do we have enough security at the port?
We have more than enough security. What you can talk is whether it's efficient.
Is it efficient?
If you are talking about
transparency and efficiency,
if you are talking about manpower, security manpower, I think the port is overstaffed with because if you look at the environment, if you visited other ports, you see that the Nigerian ports still have a sizable human traffic more than necessary. Security people are there, the NDLA, the customs, the police, the immigration service, the DMI, they are all there. So we have good presence, and the DSS, strong presence of security agencies. So what we're talking about is efficiency and deploying the right technology that will support security. I think we need more of CCTV cameras. Nigeria is fortunate to a large extent that our port environment have not been infiltrated by terrorists or arsonists, apart from the issue of a wharf rat that is now a thing of the past. So, but you must not sleep on your oars. You don't have to be complacent. We have to up our game. You can see what CCTV cameras did to the Offa Robbery investigation. So I don't know why the port environment that is like buoyant.
But maybe they need to work together. There's an interview we have here. We're going to bring that to you where the ARG Maritime visited Navgaf. Maybe that will help. We'll be right back.
Policemen attached to NIMASA. I also have Maritime Police Command operatives assisting the Shippers Council in the enforcement of their rules and regulations. In the course of doing that, we have all the departments that are also found in other commands: the admin, the investigation department, and the operations department. Sorry, I also have the Marine Police. The Marine Police essentially operates in the waterways. For instance, the policemen that are attached mostly in the inland waterways are Marine Police who escort boats and cargoes within the inland waterways. They also have the responsibility of providing like armed security and patrols of the waterways. It is also headed by an officer. So essentially the composition of the Maritime Police Command is as I have said. The Eastern Fort, the Western Fort, the policemen that are attached to NIMASA, policemen that are in NIWA, then the Marine Police. The Marine Police is in about 22 states. We have state marine officers in 22 states that are responsible for patrolling the waterways and also ensuring that things like piracy, armed robbery, smuggling, and other things are, if not completely eradicated, bring to its barest minimum in conjunction with other security agents. So this is essentially all about Maritime Command. The command was created sometime 2013, and within the clearing agents, within everybody, there are cases that will make us to stop containers because we have direct complaint. I'll give you an example. If A comes to us and said he has paid Mr. B to clear him 10 of his containers, and Mr. B had succeeded in clearing only 2, he has not finished clearing the rest, he's not giving him much reason, he's not giving him money and all that. And he is busy clearing other people's containers. He's not asking us to stop any container. But by the time Mr. CZ I've also given you their papers, to clear, and we want to see you, and maybe we invited you, you didn't come. The quickest possible means to get you is to stop the other containers that you are clearing, so that by pressure, you will appear and will ask you, this is the allegation that is against you. That does not mean we intend to cause any injury to the importer by creating demurrage. Or if we have, practically we are even having cases. I have over 116 cases under investigation right now. Issues regarding customer, agent, importer, companies, and so forth. Issues regarding forging of documents, issues regarding hacking of even, what do you call it? Lances. Somebody's lances hacked into by somebody and they use it in importing. Or issues regarding documentation. I mean, forging of, not necessarily forging, under declarations. Issues regarding, what do you call it?
Welcome back. That's the AIG Maritime in Nagaf office, trying to synergy between both of them. Yes, you heard what he said.
I would not want to fault or give a thumbs down on the AIG because I'm not privy to the information he has about infraction, deviant behavior, forgeries, and all that. These are very serious
allegations.
Yes. He talked about having over 160 cases being investigated. But you see, what happens to the police structure in the port? If police is part of the joint examination in the port, why police again intercept and begin to investigate containers? It means those in the port are not efficient.
I think that
you see, not until you get people to be responsible for their lapses, to be responsible for their compromise, it will just continue. If you have policemen on ground in the port and they were part of the process that led to the exiting of cargo, I don't see why police should also be duplicating.
Maybe we'll get the side where the Nagaf chairman said something, the founder. He too also replied to the IG, definitely what you also are saying. Yes, some of it, if we can't get that, I think we need to play that. But if not, let's look at, before that comes up, the ports. Our ports, comparing it with other ports in the world. Because if you look at the ranking, Nigerian port is 125 in the world, where you have Rwanda, you have Kenya, South Africa. If you look at the ranking for South Africa 2017 to 2018, you see 45, ranking 45, where Nigeria is ranking so low.
Now, you are going too far. Look at the Lagos-Abidjan corridor. Then take countries within the West and Central African zone. We are behind Ghana. I've been to the port of Tema. I've been to Cotonou. You see, the Ghanaian authorities are working on expanding the port of Tema to double its present capacity. Now, the Benin and Togo port are operating deep sea or anticipating strong deep sea port operations in such a way that they want to compete our goal of becoming the maritime hub. These are smaller countries. But sadly, we have the two largest ports in the sub-region, Tinkan and Apapa port. Sadly, we are not taking the shine. If you see what they do in Benin Republic, if not for government ban on car importation through the land borders, Nigerians prefer to travel to Benin, to Cotonou, to buy cars from the port there. Whereas you have a Roro port in Lagos. You have Tinkan port. The Roro port, the 100% Roro port is PTML. You have Tinkan port, you have Apapa port, and you have vehicle seats in almost every other port. But do you know that Nigerians will travel all the way from the north to go and buy cars in Cotonou port? Have you not taken time to ask yourself, why don't those vessels come to Bat in Lagos, in the bigger port? Why do they go to Cotonou? And Nigerians will now go and pay. Because for every cargo we are consuming that goes to these neighboring countries, we are creating jobs for their youth. We are creating jobs, chain of employment, chain of economic activities. Even the cargo component, everything goes to this country. We hardly get anything because we are just like a consumer country. So in ranking, first look at the West African countries, your neighboring countries. You've not been able, in fact, if you compare yourself with South Africa, you are going too far.
So you're saying that occupying that position and looking at what is happening, we might be
from the way we are going, we are far from achieving the hub status. We like sloganeering, we like big grammar, great people, good nation, ease of doing business. We like those things. But those countries don't say those things. They don't say those things. They ensure that their ports have good draft, is deep enough to carry big vessel. They receive the vessel, and they are doing it for Nigeria. They don't have the population. Togo does not have the population of Lagos. But Togo wants to receive cargo that is meant for Nigeria. When they receive it, they will not transship it by road to your country.
So all of these issues happening at the port, are you saying that we're not saying that we are still far behind? You know, how can this administration take advantage?
Okay. In taking advantage, first, they lost it from beginning. They lost it from beginning because the maritime industry is not a place you should play politics with. I hear people say the maritime industry is Nigeria's second highest. But I can tell you that the maritime industry we are seeing today is just having about 25% of its potentials. Probably if it gets its full benefits, the full potentials realized, will be 100% and will be competing with the oil sector, if not higher than the oil sector. The maritime industry is the fulcrum on which the oil sector exists. You cannot ship crude, import or export oil without ships. So the maritime industry is the number one. If you must make it work, divorce it from politics. First, somebody who is eyeing a political office in the next dispensation should not be made to come and hold a sensitive maritime assignment. Because there will be too many distractions. You will be doing too many things for show.
So are you saying that what is happening now is just distractions?
People are distracted.
We don't want to get it
right. Not in all areas, but if you must compare yourself with your peers, with countries around you, you are not going anywhere. You are just busy doing. You are busy doing conferences, traveling abroad, doing conferences, big grammar in conferences, send pictures of how you met people and all that. These smaller countries are not interested in all that. They want results and they go for them. Okay,
but so how do you advise them to meet with all stakeholders? Before then, I told you earlier that we're going to bring the founder of NAGAF's own side of it. When you said you didn't really get what the IG Maritime said, that was not for you. You don't know how it came about, all those figures. But let's hear from Boniface Alabolam, the founder of NAGAF.
NAGAF engages people constructively with a view to adding value to leadership. Leadership is collective, it's not one person. It's as simple as ABC. AIG, as a matter I didn't discuss with you inside. And now I'm going to tell you. It has to do with access into the port. Access into the port. Some of the issues you raised here, you look at Section 13 of the Custom Law. That has to deal with the role of Nigerian Port Authority in providing adequate facility thereto. What do we do? That is part of what you are saying now. How do we empower the police to do their job? When you talk about threats in the ports, it has to do with human beings. It is human being that is a threat in the port, not the ship. The ship is not a threat. The port environment is not a threat. It is human being that is a threat. How do you control access into the port? We have written this. We made suggestions. This is what you do. The port authority, by administration, is the chief secretary of the port, with AIG in command as an agent of the government charged with such responsibilities because they have the power to carry out. That's why you see the mass law. Any law that comes thereafter, is it not? It takes precedence. Is it not true? So this is Council Regulation of Freight Forwarding of 2007.
Welcome back. We heard what the founder Nagaf said. First, he talked about leadership. I think that's where we also need to look at leadership at the port. And accessing the port is really a major challenge right now.
You know, I talked about access to the port, the poor facility. But what I think Revered Dr. Nebonam is talking about is access control. People going in and out of the port. Yes. Yeah, I think a lot has to be done. First, profiling. Not until you do profiling, you may not know who comes to the port. I visited one government agency in recent times, and right there and then, some profile was made, and it shows that I have not come since they started computerizing their visitation. So they had to input me. So when next I come again, yes, when next I come again, I'm talking of Nigerian Shippers Council. Okay. Very organized. Very organized. The CEO of Nigerian Shippers Council is a model. I think that is one person that every CEO in this sector should emulate. Talks less. Talks less. You don't see him talk. You don't see him talk.
Advice finally that we need to do, because the port is very important. What do you think the government needs to do?
Divorce the maritime sector from politics. Divorce it from politics. Nobody should see the maritime sector as a fishing ground for political funding. Nobody should see it as a compensation grant for those preparing for election or who lost election. It is too important, too sensitive to the good and growth of this country to be toyed with. If not until you do that, you are just gyrating around a cycle endlessly. Because if your character, if you keep showing the same old behavior, you keep getting the same old results. Get people who will know that they have a regulatory term limit which they must pursue, and they have targets to achieve. But when somebody has a regulatory term that is specified, but he has a higher target or a different target politically, you will see him working at cross purpose with the agenda of the port. So if you don't divorce the port from politics, you have not done it.
Keep going down.
Yes.
Okay, I want to thank a maritime affairs analyst, and he's also a publisher, maritime publisher, and also my president. I'm John President. Yes, we are in it together. We're going to strive to make sure the maritime journalism is at its best. I want to thank you so much for coming on this edition of the program.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for coming. I will definitely invite you someday so we can tap out of your bundles of ideas. We can move this nation forward.
Thank you very much.
Well, we'll go on to straight up next is SuperDawn Sports. We'll be right back.